So this is my fourth attempt at recording this video because it sounds permanently like I'm having a stroke, which I don't. I hope so. But yeah, this is my English right now. Hi there, this is the second piece that I'm doing for the concept art collection that I'm working on right now. Again, I'm trying to learn concept art, so what I'm doing, it's not the best approach, but it's good enough and it allows me to keep on learning. First piece that I did was from this exact same collection. It was a mechanical drill. This time around, I'm making... Also, my cat is fighting with a box, so excuse the extra noises. This time around, I'm making a large unit. I'm thinking some sort of an extractor, which kind of is similar in nature with an oil platform. So it has, again, two states. Most of the pieces, the elements for this concept art will have the same idea behind them. They have a shape, like a more compact shape when they move to location, and when they arrive to location and they are being deployed, they move to a certain transition. So that's what you see here. It's the state where this oil rig, let's say this extractor, is while moving or while on land, and the other shape that it has when it's deployed into the ocean. So what I'm trying to accomplish here, what are my main goals? The name of the company that has these elements, has these rigs, these mech units, it's called Gecko. That's the entire spiel of it. So and also they are working in a desert-like planet, on a desert-like planet. Even if you have ocean and water and whatnot, it's still very desert-like, very desert-like location. And it plays a little bit also with the idea of steampunk. A little bit. It's more of a personal touch. In this case, what I'm doing for the rig, and the highlight for this design especially, is the neck opening. I don't know how it's called, of the lizard, of this lizard that I have on the screen right here. So I'm trying to have it look almost like a lizard standing on two legs, looking up, having its neck open. I will call it lungs because it also looks like lungs, and it also looks like other body parts that are a bit explicit, but I'm trying to stay away from that because it's funny to hold this design, even if it could have different interpretations. What I'm doing here are thumbnails, like very rough thumbnails, to give me an idea of the shape, to kind of explore some more playful approaches that can integrate these couple of elements that I mentioned. So what I think I kept from this was the idea of the neck, the upper part, that will collapse and expand when it gathers resources, and the head that looks almost like the open mouth of the gecko, the lizard, that will reveal an extractor, or an extractor will kind of expand outwards. So this mechanical unit doesn't only extract, but also refines whatever it's collecting, like oil or whatever the resource is. The idea behind the video now. So this piece is not complete. I'm still working on it. It will be, I think, another video that will have it to the final form. I spent a couple of hours doing this, I think around 4 or 5, which again is a lot. It's a lot of time compared to other artists, but this being relatively new for me, this approach in nature, I'm working with very, very few layers as compared to what I'm usually familiarized myself with. And it's also a very pictorial approach. So focusing on these things takes me way more time to kind of finish a project. And for this project, the one that I'm showing you here, I was kind of, not sure that I want to post it, that I want to make the video today for it. So I was kind of debating if to skip the video today and post one on Friday. So I said to myself that the entire point of this exercise, the entire point of YouTube, of what I'm doing now, is to showcase you the real aspect of missing goals and being okay with it, and kind of finding peace and finding some resolution with the fact that things are not happening the way I want them to, or we want them to. Because this is something that will happen on a daily basis. You set yourself some goals and maybe you don't hit them. So this is what happened here. I felt that it took a little bit more time than I would have wanted it to. But at the same time, the first concept that I did, the not the extractor but the drill, the one that it's in the preview video, it took me almost, I think, a little bit over 12 hours, which is a lot. But the thing that I'm more disappointed in, let's say disappointed for now, because again, I'm trying to find peace with that, is that sorry, I lost my idea. Oh yeah. The fact that it took 12 hours, it took 12 hours across almost a month of kind of working a little bit, then feeling down, then having to kind of convince myself that, okay, you still have a place in the industry. It's okay to feel the way it feels when you're doing it for the first for the first time in this way. So that was a struggle in itself. But this time around, when I worked on this piece, I was weirdly happy with the fact that I moved this fast. I started working on this piece, I believe, 2 days ago, even if not yesterday. So somewhere along yesterday or 2 days ago. And the fact that I moved this fast and it's a cohesive design, it has an engineering approach to it, because everything needs to be a little bit functional. It has to kind of convey some sort of realism. And also, if in this idea of what I'm doing, the concept art that I'm doing, it will be delivered to a 3D artist. The 3D artist should kind of have a fine understanding of how the elements will integrate into each other or work with each other. So you need to have a more refined mechanical concept of the thing that you're doing. I'm always thinking of the StarCraft 2 tank, where it deploys and everything is, it's cohesive, it's functional. It's not just form, but it's also kind of a relevant mechanic to it that makes you feel like, okay, that tank could be something real. So that's what I'm also aiming for in the drawings that I make. In this case, coming back to the drawing itself, the elements that kind of have this sort of cohesiveness that I'm talking about are the lungs, because they collapse and they expand. So when they expand, they gather oil or uh, whatever is being extracted by this machinery, by this extractor itself. You have the top furnace piece that is also refining what it's extracting. So it kind of works like that, childhood sword that it's made from cylindrical parts that expands and collapse into each other. So I kept the same idea for that. And then the pillars that are being deployed into the water. And another important element that you will see later on, it's the extractor itself, the part that will extract the oil from the ground, the resource from underneath the ocean floor. And it's that, I don't know how it's called in reality, but it's that hammer thing, like you see it in the right top of the screen right now. It moves up and down, and it has like this chain attached to it, and it pumps up some oil. You see here the first concept. I will drag it, I think, in this PSD file. I'm trying to kind of copy the same color palette of the drill itself, because this being made by the same company, it seems logical to have the same color code for the entire rig. Now moving the logo around, I think it's gonna be up a little bit, because that was a pretty weird location. And for the lungs itself, I like this transparent approach. So it's almost like you have two Zeppelin balloons attached to this rig, and you can see through them. I found it to be, I don't know, feel a little bit Mad Max-ish almost. What else? A really good reminder for myself was when I worked on the fire on top of it, was to keep it dirty, to not get into make it as clean as possible, even if I kind of found myself falling into this idea of, okay, I cannot leave it as it is. I try to kind of remind myself good enough is the name of the game. So I'm trying to have a good reference for the idea that I'm conveying, and I'm looking to understand the shape and the overall feeling of this thing that I'm working on. So what else? I think I did something accidentally right here. I'm doing it. I'm breaking like the exact isometric aspect of the drawing by moving the lung to the right a little bit behind the rig itself, and bring the one to the left a little bit in front. So it feels like you're kind of looking at it from a little bit of a side angle. And that's really, I think it's a really neat trick that you can do to kind of give a little bit of depth to it, without going too much into moving the object around. Here also a very neat trick was the piping inside the rig itself. Even if it's not too detailed and it's not too great, it's still good enough because it conveys a little bit of a message that there's something happening in there. It's not just an empty structure. Here I'm trying to add a little bit of cement buildings to it, so it feels like there are people working on this platform, like on top also. Like there's 2 layers to it, and now this is the 3rd layer where whatever is happening, people are maybe working on the legs, supporting, on the support pillars of the platform or whatever. You have in the final version there are 3 tiers where people can move on this platform. I will also have to add some sort of an elevator, some sort of something to convey that this building has life on it. Now, this part is that element that I mentioned you about, like the hammer-like legs that are pumping, that are extracting oil. So usually the design of those hammers are from the beak of the hammer you have attached like a chain or whatever. It's a rig that kind of pulls something from the ground, while in this case I moved the rig upwards, so above the hammer. So instead of pulling, it drags the entire chain, and whatever is happening is hidden by the base of this structure. And it could be, it feels that it's moving a little bit away from the the lizard aspect, but also this arachnid, this spider-like mutation between this mutation between a spider and a lizard. It still works for me. It still feels cohesive to the idea, the original idea. So I said whatever, I'll move with it. I'll roll with it. You see, I have on the right, I have some images saved from the internet. I also use an app called Pure Ref. I recommend it. It's amazing. You can make yourself some mood boards for whatever you're trying to do, and it's very user friendly. So I'm also using that. I have a collection of whatever excavators and details for pipes and for cables and for mechanical elements. And also I'm putting the pieces that are finalized and putting them in that pure ref file. So I can see when I get lost or when I'm getting into these tiny details, I can have sort of reference instead of kind of recreating the entire wheel myself, And I strongly recommend you to do this. Now we're closing to the final version of this. Again, it's a thumbnail form, but I'm trying. I want to take this final minute to kind of say thank you to those that commented, dropped a comment on the past videos. Thank you for the likes. Thank you for the subscribes. It means a lot because again, I'm doing this to kind of give some extra motivation, because I'm trying to kind of find motivation for myself with some degree of success, and I also would like to spread it with other artists out there, because we're living in these unprecedented times when even art is it's in danger. But seeing you guys finding some motivation, even if my English is not the best, even if I'm not as coherent as I would like to, I appreciate it a ton that you guys roll with me and that you're allowing me to kind of do the thing that I'm doing and learn in my own way. And I appreciate the fact that there's some people here with me, because it makes this a little more bearable. It makes it a little more fun to do. And I'm successfully doing this video with having you in mind, whoever is watching it. And I'm trying to kind of find a breakdown to also give you hints, but tell you also my story of how it feels to make these. So thank you so much for it, and stay tuned to see the next one. Bye.